Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some TerraScape, shall we? Doing a complete beginner's guide to the game. And what we're going to do here is just fire up a brand new game and play through the scenarios together so that you can learn incrementally how to play the game with a gated number of decks so that you're not just entirely overwhelmed by what's going on in TerraScape. TerraScape is kind of a puzzle game version of Civilization, is perhaps a way to imagine this. And what you do is each turn you're going to be playing cards that translates into hexes on the map that allow you to build up a kingdom and score points. But the trick of TerraScape is that the timing is so crucial as to when you play your tiles, as is the placement. And the best way to look at that is by playing together. So what we're going to do is fire this up new, and we're going to go single player, and we're going to go into the scenario mode. There's also puzzle mode, which teaches the game in interesting ways by asking you to understand certain game concepts, and it's a different fun way to play. And then there's Kingdom mode, which is kind of like Sandbox, where just see how many points you can get. And I think Kingdom mode is super fun, but it's best understood after you've done the scenarios and really get a grasp of the game. So in the scenarios, we're going to begin with New Hope. Now, if you start the scenarios, you're not going to see all of them as a new player. I've just played them and unlocked them. So we're going to begin with this first scenario, A New Hope, and just click Next. Then what's going to happen is it asks you to choose whether or not this game seed is okay. So it's going to randomly generate a world for you. And you could say either start game, yeah, I like how this looks, or you could click this little dice up here to kind of change what the layout is. It doesn't matter tremendously as a new player, to be honest with you. But I want something that's just like a single island without big bodies of water in the middle for now. And this is what I'm going to use. If you actually type in the seed that you see above, you will get to play on this exact map too if you want to play along. But I'm telling you what, for your first scenario, it really doesn't matter too much. So I'm just going to click Start Game. Now, in this guide, I'm not going to tell you the exact build order that you need to do, or how to min-max, or even talk about, some of the probably advanced things that the highest scoring players are doing to eke out points at a very granular level and top level play. This is just about the controls, the UI, some basic tips and tricks and fundamentals, and showing you how to clear the scenarios so you can play along and either see if this is a kind of game that you want to play, or if you've purchased it, you can understand exactly what the game is asking you to do. And I'll try to fill in any gaps in the built-in tutorials with my own experience, game knowledge, and with the comments that I've received on YouTube from other TerraScape players. So as you open this up, it says, to build a prospering country, the cornerstones of a society need to be established. We will require capable workers who have to be supplied with provisions. Even the best craftsmen will struggle to construct a kingdom on an empty stomach. And you say, okay, now this makes sense, but in practice, it's not actually how the game plays out, in my opinion. And I'll explain that in a moment. So I'm going to look at the game world, and you see how the island is actually kind of smaller, perhaps, than maybe what we thought based on the game seed. You can move the camera around with WASD, or you can hold right-click and drag. You can zoom in and out to an amazing level of detail using the mouse wheel. And just talk about the UI for a moment with you. On the upper left, you'll see the scenario name, New Hope. And then there are some quests. The quests in this kind of brownish gold orange color up here are the main quests. So to clear the scenario, you need to do all 12 of these main quests. And then there are side quests that drop down below in green that will satisfy these requirements, and then there might be some other optional quests that emerge that you don't have to do, but if you want to get both medals for the scenario, you need to do those. So there's like, basically, you win, and then you get a Supreme Achievement medal if you do all the optional stuff. Right now, we can't even see what those are, but these are going to guide us into what we need to do. In the bottom left, you're going to see some filtering options. So, for example, you can turn the grid on and off. You can show and hide the resources. You can also use keyboard commands to do this. I push Alt to have my resources shown, and it just displays on each hex what resource type this is, which triggers on certain effects from tiles that you have in your hand. So these are river tiles, for example, and then this is a berry bush. You can mouse over any hex on the map and hover the mouse there, and it will bring up a tooltip that shows you that the biome type for this tile it's a grassy tile, and then on top of that grass there is a berry bush. This, for example, is a grass tile with river, but if I mouse over here, the biome is stone, but there's actually no resource. It's just a stone biome, which is kind of like the base type that the tile is. On this map, we don't have too many different biomes. We do have some forest or thicket biomes and some forest resources too that you'll see. You can also show and hide buildings, but we don't have any buildings constructed. You could show and hide buildable tiles. This is a pretty useful one because sometimes if you're trying to see where you can build, if you're trying to make a combination, you need to know which hexes are in play. So, for example, all of these river tiles have these red lines going through them because you can't build on top of them. Same thing here for this megalith, which it's blocking us. So you can just turn that on and off at your leisure, and then you can also show and hide synergies when building. I think this is an excellent one, especially if you're new, to have turned on, so I have it turned on. And then finally, this top icon is not a filter, but is an option for you to lay down blueprints, which we'll talk about later, but you can also trigger that by mousing over any hex and then right-clicking, and it will bring up a wheel that does the blueprints for you as well. And that's just kind of like if you want to mentally block out your play space. So in the center bottom of the screen, you're going to see a element of the UI or heads-up display that shows that we have a keep card. So all of the cards in our hand are shown here. When you start out, all you have is this keep card, which is where you will place your keep or your city center. And you have to put this down before you can even do anything else. It's kind of a decision, the first decision you make. Where do we put the keep? On the left, you're going to see the level of your keep, and right now it's level 0. The higher the level of the keep, the more different decks we get to choose from to incorporate into our game. This bar right here shows the level of your keep itself. Over here on the right are the draw decks, and it shows you how many different draws you have into the different decks that you have available. We have none right now, so it's empty. And then this bar that says 0 out of 30 is showing you how many points you need to unlock a new draw deck. And then down here in the center of the hex, it is showing you what level your settlement is altogether. So finally, in the upper right, there are some basically commands that just bring up the same exact menu as if you push escape. And then this little arrow that's hiding is the combination building key. Now, yours is going to look different than mine because I have unlocked a good bit of these. They unlock the recipes for these building combinations as you play. So, for example, if I were to build 4 houses in this exact pattern, those cottages turn into a longhouse. I should say cottage and not house, by the way, sorry. So we'll talk about that when the time comes, but the first thing that we need to do is place this keep. So I'm going to click right here on the keep, and we can move it around. And we can put this wherever we like, but if it's over a blocker, you see how the keep turns red. If we can place it, it is green. If it's on a blocker, it's red. Now, it doesn't honestly matter too much where you place this as a new player. You probably don't want to cover up a bunch of resources because those can help you score more points. So I'm just going to keep... I'm going to put my keep over here off to the side, just like that. Once you place your keep, it doesn't look like much at first. It's just a very low-level little settlement here, right? But we're going to upgrade it by clicking on this right here. Now, when we upgrade our keep, we get to this kind of like tech tree screen, and we can click on whatever decks that are unlocked for us, which become unlocked based on what level our keep is. So we're at level 1, which means we can only get the decks that are touching this on the tree, basic, food, and settlement. And then if you want to get, for example, community or foodstuffs, you need to take the choice that is preceding it if it's connected by a line. So it's showing you this lock. So like foodstuffs, we can't just get unless we've taken basic food first. So our choice is either between basic food and settlement. And I like to take food first, but you can honestly take whichever one you want. I'm going to take food and then click unlock deck. Once we unlock a deck, several things are going to happen. At the top center of the screen, there's going to be a window that drops down that tells us gatherer huts are now available. And this is telling us that our keep level is 1. We're trying to work up towards 2. And we have 1 total deck unlocked. So you could see we filled in some experience. And once this blue bar fills up, we will level up our keep again and get to pick another deck to unlock. Over here, we have 1 draw available, as is indicated in this orange sphere. And once this thing fills up, we will get another draw. You fill this up by scoring points. Actually, it's the same for either. And we'll talk about that as we go. One thing that's worth mentioning is this is entirely turn-based. This is meant to be a chill, beautiful, living puzzle that you build. But even though it's living, because things are animated like these deer, it's turn-based. So time is not passing. So you can sit and deliberate on your move for however long you want. What I'm going to do is click on this button, and when you click on the Draw Deck button, it will show you a list of however many decks that you've unlocked, and then give you a choice of which deck you want. If you have multiple decks unlocked, it will randomly present deck choices to you, and you may not get the deck that you're looking for, so you might have to draw from a different deck and then try again to find whatever you're going for. But right now, we've only got 1, so we're absolutely fine. Now, this is the basic food deck that we unlocked by selecting food. And if I mouse over it, it tells you the possible buildings that are available to get from this deck. Currently, I can only get the Gatherer's Hut, because every deck that you have actually has its own experience level. And in order to unlock the better, more advanced buildings within that deck, you need to score points with that deck to level it up so that you can get more options available. So by playing cards and buildings from the deck onto the world and scoring points, you level up your keep, you level up your draw deck ability to get a new draw, and you level up that deck itself so that you can unlock more buildings. The asterisk in the upper left corner means that we have a new building that we're guaranteed to get. So whenever you unlock a new building with a deck, the next time you select it, you're guaranteed to get that new building. So if I click on this, you see that we get a Gatherer's Hut in our deck. Now, let's talk about what we see. There is a Gatherer's Hut, and it says ×2, meaning I have 2 copies of this card. My draw deck selection has disappeared because I can't draw any more decks. All I can do are place gatherer's huts. Now, in Civilization, it's important to manage, like, how much food you have, and you need that to feed your population, and so on and so forth. In TerraScape, food is, of course, important, but in an objective way. And what I mean by that is, you don't need a certain amount of food to grow your population, per se, but rather you need points. And everything is condensed into one resource in this game, which is points. So you're scoring points to level yourself up. So it's not as complicated as Civilization, where you're balancing several different resources and you're worried, like, okay, well, I need this much food. My population is growing. Uh-oh, they're becoming unhappy. I need to do this. It's instead loosely based on that idea, and it's set up to kind of operate that way, but you're only managing points in this game. And that was something that I had to kind of unlearn, because I was looking at it. It's hex, it's a hex-based world with resources on the tiles, and I'm immediately, it looks like Civilization 5. I'm like, I'm playing Civilization, so let's go ahead and do this and that. This is not that. This is a matching puzzle game where you're trying to score points and make combos and stuff. So let's talk about how you score points. If I mouse over the Gatherer's Hut, you'll see there's a tooltip that appears that says Gatherer's Hut, and it gives you a bunch of incredibly important information. It tells you how to score points with this card. It gets points when it's placed on a grass tile or an arid tile, and in parentheses, it'll tell you, for example, and I'm looking at the left of this where it says receive/loses points on. On grass, if I put this down, I get 15 points. If I put this on an urban tile, like in the middle of the city, minus 20 points. So good is in green, bad is in red for this. And then over here on the right, it receives and loses points from. And this means from developed hexes within its area of influence. And you can see its area of influence in the upper right of the tooltip where it says 1, and it has the picture of the hex with the house. That means every hex adjacent within 1 to the Gatherer's Hut is used to determine how many points you will score when you place it. If that was a 2, you would move from the Gatherer's Hut 2 hexes in every direction all the way around it. So you would have like a double area of influence for a potential to score even more points. This is just a normal card, so it's 1 radius or 1 adjacency around its hex. And what it looks at is, are there fruits? Are there berry bushes? We see those. Is there a vineyard? And these are different types. So you're going to see, for example, berry bushes and rivers are kind of in teal. Those are just tile types with tile developments that are natural. Then there's fruit farms, farmsteads, vineyards, which are upgraded buildings, combo buildings. Then there's gatherer huts and wheat fields, which are singular buildings that we place. And then there's predators, which make it minus. I don't think we have any predators on this map. Obviously, predators are not good. You're trying to collect your berries and you get killed by a wolf. That's a downside. So you don't want that. So if I select this Gatherer's Hut, now, because I have this bottom left thing selected, it says show hide synergies when building. All of these hexes that have the kind of teal or light green border around them are showing you where the synergies are. And so when I select a Gatherer's Hut, and let's just say I put it right here, I'm going to get 15 points if I put it here. I'm getting 15 points, and it shows you 15, and then above it there's another 15, and those two numbers match. That is because the only benefit I'm getting from putting it on this tile is the 15 points from it being a grass tile. And then it accumulates all the points and puts it in a display above and gives it a kind of color code. telling you like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond to the moon. This is terrible. This is not good. Okay? If I move this around, you could see the number is changing. And this is one of the most important tips I can give you if you're playing TerraScape. Experiment. Guide this thing everywhere to see where the points are. 75, that's huge. You see how the color changes? 60, 45, 30, silver. We're getting really, really nice here with a 75, 15, 0. This is a thicket, no points, terrible. So 50 over here. As you're learning the game, just take the time to kind of zoom out and just mouse around with this and see what makes the numbers go up and down. Now, let's go back to this 75 that we looked at. What's going on here when I mouse over this and put it here is you can see the game is telling you on every single tile whether I'm gaining or losing points. Negative in red, green in positive. I'm getting an aggregate of 75 points because each of these 5 tiles is giving me 15 points. 15 points from this being on a grass hex, and then it's surrounded by berry bushes. So obviously, this is an amazing place for people to come and pick berries because there's berries everywhere. It's berry heaven. Additionally, let me select this again, move around. If I put this here, I get 50 points because 15 grass, 2 berry bushes at 15 each, and then 5 from this river tile. Rivers give us 5. We might be able to gather some cool stuff along the riverbed, for example. It's not as good as berry bushes in terms of points, but it's good. So what you're looking for are big numbers. You want the big numbers. Here's another 75. Here are a few things to pay attention to that blew my mind as well. Here's my keep. I kept thinking about it as, okay, my keep is really important because, like in Civilization, your central tile is important. Everything radiates out from that. In TerraScape, it does not matter about logistics for how close you are to your keep. If I put a berry bush over here, you don't have to imagine that your workers need to travel there and it's a big pain in the butt and it's less impactful than being closer to your keep or something like that. Put things on whatever tile would give them the most points. Okay? So there's lots of 75s. Let's just drop this right here. I get 75 points. Right away, look what happened. You see this bar? It added 75 points and it moved us up. So now we have 2 more draws for draw decks available. We got a bunch of points over here. We're about to level up our keep just like that. And you could see that as this goes up, you get a new draw. Then the target is moving and it progressively gets more expensive to level up the draw deck as you go. So initially it was just 30. Now it's up to 39. By the way, if we took settlement from our first choice, we would have been able to complete this main quest, which gives you rewards. Once you unlock the settlement deck, it's just going to give us 2 free cottages. So I wouldn't blame you at all for taking settlement first, just to unlock that quest. However, I chose food just because I always choose food, and that's just a personal preference. I think that you gotta feed people. So, like, they have some places, at least visually, it looks like they have a few places they can live within this keep. I gotta feed people first. So now let's look. There's a new icon on the map. It's this gathering hut. And if I place my next gathering hut over here, then I get 60, but if I put it here, I get 30 because the gathering hut itself gives us a little bit of a synergy bonus. I can also, if I want, put my gathering hut on top of a berry bush. And if I do that, I only get the bonus from the grass underneath, because putting a building on top of a resource will destroy the resource underneath. So if I put this here, the berry bush is gone. This leads to another incredibly important point, and perhaps the most important point about the game, which is there is no retroactive scoring. So you might say, well, if you put this here, it's going to delete the berry bush, and it's going to take away the points that you gained from this gathering hut that you built, because there's no berry bush anymore. Once it's played, it's done unless you make it a combo building, and the buildings around it have no effect. So you cannot retroactively improve or make worse any situations by placing tiles in this game. So the timing is super important, and it's something that I'm still trying to get used to, honestly, which is when to place things, the ordering of doing so, and the fact that you can't go back in time to improve or make worse your situation. So I'm going to put this berry bush here, and you might say, well, why would you do that? You could put it here and get 75. That is so true. However, I want to put it right here for a very simple reason. The game doesn't explain this at first, and I'm not going to give you every recipe because that's not fun. But I want to encourage you to experiment with putting buildings together to try to figure out how to make upgraded structures. So if I go over into my merged buildings, they're called merged buildings in this game, and I go here to the fruit farm, by unlocking the berry bush or the gathering hut, you will see this fruit farm on your merged buildings list. Okay, most of these will be like question marks for you, and once you get one idea of something, it should show you and then give you the pattern. If you know the buildings, it will show you this. And you can see how if I build 3 gathering huts that are touching in this shape, I will make a fruit farm. If I build this fruit farm, what I get would be 2 berry bushes that I can place that give 15 points, and every tile around me would turn, or around my fruit farm rather, would turn into grass. So it's not a huge deal, but you can see that this is actually an arid biome. So our gathering hut only gets 10 points from being on an arid biome. But if we transform that into grass, we get more points. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a hut right here and get 50 points. And now you can see it gives us all the points. It shows us that we've got these 2 gathering huts next to each other. I'm going to click on draw deck, and all I have is basic food. I'm going to draw 1. Here is something else I didn't know when I first played the game. You can draw all your cards if you want. You don't have to wait on these. So if you want to just fill up your hand, there's no maximum hand size. Go ahead, just draw as many cards as you want. The plus side of doing that is you have a lot of different options to choose from. The downside of doing that is if I save these draws until I level up my gathering deck, my food deck rather, I will then be able to use those draws to get better buildings, more valuable buildings. So it's a balancing act of do I need cards now to level up my keep, level up my draw, or do I want to try and save those so that I can use them later when I have access to more powerful decks and cards? In the upper left, you can see this is the level of my food deck. It is currently 125 out of 50. So if I score 25 more points with my food deck, then I will level it up and unlock a new option within that deck. Most of the decks have 4 options. So it's like you get one when you first get it. If you level it up, you unlock a second option. And so on. I want to level this up to get more points. In the bottom, you see now we have 165 out of 453 to raise up our settlement to a new milestone. And this is just about like keeping score with your account and with your run. Okay, so I am going to click on the gathering hut. By the way, it's worth mentioning, I only got 1 card that time. It is random how many cards you get from a deck. Sometimes you get a few, sometimes you get 1. I got 1. I'm going to put this here because if I place this... Actually, I'm going to put it here. I lied. I get more points if I put it here. Let's watch what happens when I merge a building. So I'm going to get 40 points for putting this here. This will level up our food deck. This will level up our keep. This will level up our draw deck. And if I put this here, it will also merge. So just keep your eye on these 3 tiles. Upgraded our keep. And, boom, upgraded our food deck. This turned into a fruit farm. You can see that arid tile from before is now grass. So everything around this that wasn't already grass is now grass. And I got these 2 berry bushes that I can put wherever I want. Again, though, with berry bushes, just bear in mind, putting this here is not going to give me extra points on my fruit farm or the berry bushes that were there because there's no retroactive scoring. This merged building also, as far as I understand it, it did not give me extra points for doing that. It just gives you the reward for building a merged building. However, in the future, it can end up giving you extra points because Gathering Hut likes to be next to a fruit farm. It gets more points. Okay, so now let's click on the keep, and we can unlock the settlement deck. And watch this quest right here. Boom. We just get 2 free houses. So this green side quest, which is actually a main quest portion, I think the side quests are blue, if memory serves. So these are like, I call them side quests or subquests because I think of this as the overarching main quest, and then these are the components that add up to this. But either way, however you want to articulate that is fine. You see how we completed one of the green main quests, and now the overall main quest, or the scenario quest, is 1 out of 12. Now what they want us to do is build cottages with a rating of silver. So I got 2 free cottages, and if I put down cottages, you'll see, well, you know, I'm getting 0. I want silver rating. Why am I getting 0? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we need to look at what do we get points from with a cottage. We get points when placing a cottage from arid, rural, megalith, longhouse, fruit farm, gatherer's hut, farmstead, etc. So those are things that can get us points. Let me see if I can find... I don't want to show you too many of these, but this would be the main combo that we can do right now as a longhouse. It does create rural around it, which gives you more points when placing future longhouses. And it also gives you a free remove resource tile. Okay, so what I want to do next is build some longhouses. You can see if I build it next to this, I get 10 points, which is good. The ground is a different level here, like this is down in a hole and then this is above it. This does not affect a merged building if they're close in elevation, but if it's too far of a gap in elevation, it will. So you need to make sure that you are, if you're trying to go for a merged building, that the relative elevation is pretty close. Now, this is actually a really good area because it's arid. So what I'm going to do is put a house here, 10 points for that, And then notice how if I build the next house, I get 15 points because I'm getting 10 points from the fruit farm and 5 points from being next to another cottage. And that counted, that even though it was only 10 points, it counted as a silver rating to work toward our quest objective. So I'm going to click on this, and we get 15 points. And you could kind of see there's an animation of like the points flowing in from the hexes are giving it points. So we have these two guys here. Now I'm going to click on draw, and basic food has leveled up. So you see the plus symbol. That means that we're going to get the hunting cabin to level up, and the settlement, we're guaranteed to get cottages, and we got 4 of them. I'm actually going to just place these right now. I'm going to put one here for 20, and then another right here for 20, and you're about to see a longhouse emerge. So we've built up this merge building. You could see that it kind of raises the ground around it and puts up this thatched retaining wall, and it changes its animation, and everything is great. I'm going to put now some more houses down, and this cottage gets a ton of points for being on a rural tile. This used to be grass, but the longhouse changed it into rural. 10 points from the fruit farm and 10 points from the other longhouse. And this is where the balance of the game comes into play. I made stuff grass with the fruit farm, but actually, if I'm building houses over here, I don't want that. I want the rural. So then the rural comes down from the longhouse, changes the biome type, and gives us more points. I'm going to put this here. We're 5 out of 8. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one there. And you could see that we're getting a bunch of points. Now, we've actually leveled up our keep, but in this scenario, we can't level it up anymore. They want to limit, as you start the scenario, how many different options there are to not overwhelm you. So all we get access to is the food deck and the settlement deck to make things nice and easy. Again, you see how these houses, I'm building them so far away from our keep. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if people have to walk across the map. Logistics of that kind are not a concern in the game. And I'm going to now go here, and let's take the upgraded basic food deck, and you can see we can build a hunting cabin, which is the new building. And this wants to be near wild game. So wherever you see the antlers, ooh, this is an amazing place to build it. This is 90 points right here. Can I get even better than that? No, 90 is ridiculous. So we're going to build this right here. The hunting cabin is a funny one because it's like it actually wants to be far away from people usually. I mean, it's hunters. They live alone, hunting stuff out. They want the animals. So let's put that there. That's going to score us so many points, and we've upgraded to a hamlet. You could see now our basic food deck is at 105, and our settlement deck is at 120. Food is at level 3, settlement level 2. If I place this gatherer's hut, I can get a ton of points. 70 right here. But let's go just score as many points as possible and put it right there. Now we've unlocked a wheat field. I need to click on this, and I'm going to take the basic food. We see wheat field, gatherer hut, but now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to take settlement. We got 4 more cottages. We need to build just 2 more to get this quest done. And if I put it here, I'm only going to get 10 points. And this is only going to get me 5 points. So this is a good opportunity to show you how to score some more points right here. I'm actually going to just right-click to clear what I'm holding in my hand. And I'm going to use the remove resource. And I'm going to clean up this forest. So now there is no forest right there. So if I put my cottage down... No, I lied. That actually doesn't change the amount of points because the biome is different. I was thinking that the forest itself had a negative effect on the cottage, but it doesn't. Putting the cottage down would have just killed the forest. So all that does is remove the resource if it's particularly negative, but it doesn't change the biome. So that's me having a memory cramp. But this is still good enough to get 7 of 8, and now... if I build a cottage here, even though this was an unfavorable tile, I still get 10 points because it's next to 2 cottages, and we'll make another longhouse. And we'll clear out, and we're going to make rural as in many places as we can. And we see our first side quest. So the side quest or optional quest is blue. All right, so that's a better explanation of it than what I gave before. I apologize. Blue. Here we go. Okay, so if we want to get full ranking for completing this, what you want to do is complete all the side quests. And to do that, we just need to build 20 cottages total, which is super easy. Now, the wheat field, you can see that we can build a farmstead with 3 wheat and 1 house. And once you seed the wheat and have the house, this should be unlocked on your merge building list. But I only have 1 wheat field, so can I get some more? Nope, I got a bunch of gathering huts. That's okay. I'm going to come over here and put these down to score points. So I can put this here and here to make another fruit farm. Get some berries that I can place. And, hey, do I want a bunch of points? That's a 70. But if I use place berry, and place berry like that, then when I put a gathering hut down, holy cannoli, I get 115 points. So by using all of those berry bushes and the fruit farm, I get a ridiculous amount of points for putting that there. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click basic food. Okay, now we have enough wheat fields. Wheat wants to be on grass, so I'm just going to place 1, 2, 3 in this pattern and put down a cottage right here, and bam, they merge together. Oh yes. Now the main quest is asking us to build longhouses, which we've already built 2. Usually the quests will retroactively allow you to benefit from what you've built, so you don't have to worry about the fact that we built those first. Alright, I'm going to build a house here, and let's just go ahead and get the settlement and put some more cottages in here. The well is now available. And, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, longhouse. I'm putting all of these close together so that we create a bunch of rural tiles. Now, sometimes you'll get raise or lower land as options in addition to the decks, and you can take this. If you want to change the elevation to create a merged building, smooth out the map, whatever you want to do, go ahead. I'm just going to take the well, because the well opens up some new options for settlement types where the well allows you to build some more merged buildings. But I'm just going to put down a well to get a bunch of points. 35 points here, pretty good, but 40 back here for all these longhouses. There you go. And you see that the river is blocking, so I can't get a longhouse there, but I also can't get one here. And why is that? It is because the elevation is too great of a difference. It's 2 levels. This is down in a hole, and this is up on a hill. So this will not turn into a longhouse. And you cannot lower the ground with a modification on it. That being said, it's okay, because I can simply just put one here instead. Yay! Alright, and we need to build 2 more. To get to the next quest, there's a blocker right there. So I'm just going to start building here. We're killing berry bushes, by the way. Settlement. There it is. And this is too tall to build a longhouse, but I could build one up here. So you always want to put the houses that are adjacent first so that you can get points for the next houses that you place. In this case, these cottages. And there it is. We did it. We merged it. And now we just need to place a hunting cabin with a gold rating. And they gave us a trick for doing that because they gave us 4-place game. So you could see hunting cabins hate to be next to other hunting cabins. We're getting minus 50 for that. That's our first really big minus. But if I put it here, this is 100 points, which is a ton. But instead, if I was like, hey, let's put down all that game, now I get 165 points. That's a lot. That's ridiculous. Done. And they want us to place wheat fields and wells. Easy enough, right? So you can push Alt to hide the resources. If you ever just want to look at your game and just, you know, admire the beautiful visuals. Okay, so let's go ahead and place a bunch of wells. It doesn't matter what rating these are, by the way. We can just put them down to get some points. There's 20 points. But you do want to score as many points as possible just to level up your draw deck. Here's 50. One more well will do. And if you ever forget where a card is, just mouse over the deck, and you can see now the settlement deck provides cottages and wells. Okay, let's put one more well down right there. Perfect. That quest is done. Now we need to place wheat fields. So let's go to basic food. And remember how I said there's no limit on cards. I've got so many cards in my hand. Oh, actually, never mind. I already have 6 wheat fields. Let's put some more down. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Cottage. Yeah. And then if I go 1, 2, 3 like this, 1, 2, 3, and we just unlocked a bunch. And you see we already had this one unlocked, so we're killing it, 9 out of 12. Put a cottage right there, transform it. Get some more wheat fields. So you see the benefit of merged is you get a bunch of extra cards, which gives you more plays to make more points. And they want us to make farmsteads, which we just made 3 of. So let's make some more. Now, we need grass for this. So this might be a situation where we need to move over and just say, okay, 1, 2. We need to click on basic food to get that third one. Put a cottage there. Now that is a farmstead. Hunting cabin. Even though I get a massive minus right here because of the other hunting cabin, it's still worth placing it because of how much game is over there. It's like, yeah, they're competing, but it's not a big deal. So you see how I went for wheat field, but I ended up getting gathering huts. You don't always get what you want. You have to keep a lot of draws, and that's another reason you want to sandbag draws. Not just for better buildings, but if you're really trying to look for a particular card, you can't control what comes up. And one more will do. Got it. So now they want us to unlock the pasture farm, which is unlocked from leveling up the food deck. The food deck is at level 4. We just need to get, or I'm sorry, it's at level 3. To get to level 4, we need 260 points. So let's just put down a bunch of berry bushes and score points that way. Here's 60. Here's 65. Let's make a fruit farm. There's 75. We did it. There's 80. I'm just putting them all down where I see a huge number, and we did it. We unlocked the pasture. They want us to make a manor farm, so let's look at that. A manor farm looks like this. However, we don't have houses yet, I don't think. Do we? No. Okay, so we need to unlock that by going to leveling this up. So I'm just going to drop in a bunch like this. Just keep leveling up the settlement deck. There we go. Putting in some longhouses. And cottages. Ooh, this is a 50-point cottage. Did it unlock the house? Perfect. Another longhouse. Alright, so now they want us to drop in houses. And we're going to get city districts, which is exactly like the longhouse, but with houses. So let's build these away. It doesn't really matter necessarily where we put these, but building it, they do get benefit from this. So if we go 1, 2... and then we're just going to keep clicking on settlement to get more houses. 3 and 4, we get a city district. Now this city district, you see how it puts the urban tiles, the streets like all around it, just like the longhouse puts rural, the city district drops in urban. And they want us to build a manor farm, so let's do that and talk about using a blueprint to help make that happen. So I'm going to go to a clear area that doesn't have too much of an elevation change. This is fine. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click a blueprint with reach 1. So this blueprint just makes this big hex like this that we can use to guide us for building the manor farm. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the wheat that we need on the outside. Now, we need a well on the inside. We can put the well down that we have, but we want to wait until we get the most points possible. So I'm just going to take basic food to try to get some more wheat. Here we go. We need to take basic food again until we get wheat. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. There we go. So we get the 4th wheat right here. And then we can build the house, or we can build the well. I'm going to build the well first. 40 points for that. And then we put a house here. And the house, let me get settlement, right here. And we made a manor farm. So now it says, good work, you've successfully mastered all challenges that you've faced, and thanks to your determination, your kingdom has grown once again. Now, new endeavors are waiting for you. Great. So we finished all the main quests, but I want to do the blue quest as well. So I'm just going to say continue so that I can keep going. And they want us to just build a bunch of city districts. Look how good the manor farm looks, by the way. And we got this beekeeper, which is just this like special guy, and it's 5 stars. It has a huge reach. You could see the beekeeper has a reach of 3. So you want to put this, obviously, to just score as many points as possible. And we're going to get the most points. You know, bees love berries and farms and stuff. 215 is ridiculous. I'll put it right there. Then we're going to click settlement. And I'm just going to keep grabbing settlement to get as many houses as I can. So we started building a city district over here. I'm going to keep that going because it's going to make our houses score even more points, which we need to get more draws so we can keep putting down houses. 1, 2. Now this hunting cabin, you don't have to worry that you're destroying its game. Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, perfect. Settlement. Uh-huh. The well, not good in the urban area. We have unlocked the market, which is the final settlement, and now all of our decks are fully leveled. Okay, I'm just going to keep following these urban tiles and just dropping in as many houses as I can to complete this. We get a market, and the market is pretty tremendous. because it's a great way to score points. Generally, what you want to do is try to build up so that you can get the synergies necessary that you've already put in place to just put this in and, get 1,000,000 points. And the higher level cards are worth so many points. Put that there, that's another city. Drop that in. I need more cities. Oh, give me the houses, yes. There it is. Come on now, settlement. House. Settlement. Alright, house. By the way, if your hand gets full, you can use the mouse wheel whilst hovering over the hand to kind of scroll around on it. There we go. Got another market. The market doesn't like being close to another market. Makes sense. Drop it there, get 100 points, and celebrate. I'll take a settlement. That is a very, very nice house right there. Does a house... It doesn't really care. It just doesn't like rural. There we go. Drop that in. Settlement. Market. Okay. 95 is good. 90. 100. Settlement. House. 115 right there. And put a house there. Did it. So the first optional quest is done. Now we just need to read milestone 3. Easy. Put that there. Put that there. So many points coming in. Awesome. Yeah, drop that market in. And let's see. Let me zoom out. Where can I get a bunch of points for a well? Anywhere? That's 25. It's not bad. 40. Anybody want a well? 40. 35. I'll take the 40. Hunting cabin? Anyone? 75 is great. Cattle pasture, huh? Sure. All right. I'm just, by the way, without rhyme or reason, just putting things down to score points. We only need to reach settlement milestone 3, which is, you can see down here, we're working on it. I think the best thing, though, for us to score points... Ooh, we got a super well. Sometimes you'll get a card like this, which is gold, which basically is just like a normal card, but it has extra reach. So, yeah, you could, put it here and score 100 points, for example. Houses are getting us the most points right now. Just putting them onto established rural tiles. We're just getting so many points from doing that. It's gross. Our city is prospering. Market? Sure. 70, 80. Huh. 80 feels good. House? You got it. And there it is. We did it. We have now completed every objective on this scenario and gotten both medals. So I hope you all have found this guide to be useful and fun. It's not the, I'm not describing the most advanced techniques for scoring points, but rather just explaining the basics and showing you how to do this first scenario so that you can get into this game and enjoy it like I do. It's a really, really fun and relaxing way to spend some time if you like a kind of nice puzzle building game that looks amazing. I hope you found this not only to be useful, but inspiring so that you go out and try to play the game, and I hope you do enjoy it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to help you out, and if you are a TerraScape veteran and you'd love to share help for new players, that would be so much appreciated. Just make sure you keep it in the spirit of people who've never played the game, who are just looking to get into it and understand the basics. Thank you, everyone. Take care.